what's up, y'all? My name is Ross Swinson. Today we're going to be talking about the pentatonic scale, how to use it, how to improvise with it, what key you're in, all that sort of stuff. But before we get started, maybe consider checking out our YouTube memberships. It's a great way to support what we do here. And like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff helps promote our video a little bit more. All right, so the first thing is, what is the pentatonic scale? Well, the definition of the scale is actually right there in the word. Penta means 5, tonic means tones. So it's a 5-note scale, 5-tone scale. This is different from a major scale or a minor scale because those are septatonic scales. They have 7 notes. And most pentatonic scales are just derived from the major scale by taking 2 of those notes away. By doing this, you kind of basically just make the pentatonic scale fit over more chord progressions. Not every note in the major scale sounds good over every chord, so it's kind of a catch-all scale that sounds good with just about anything. There are a lot of different pentatonic patterns all over the neck, but there's one that people play the most often, and it's the one I call pattern 1 pentatonic, and it looks like this. I'm going to start on the 5th fret E string. So that is pattern 1 pentatonic. It's 2 notes per string, so that's pretty easy to remember. And another thing is, the first note on each string is always the same fret. So it's not too hard to memorize. This one in particular, starting on the 5th fret, and it's going to go 5, 8, 5, 7 3 times, and then 5, 8 2 times. So really, since it's always the 5th fret first, all you really have to remember is 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. And that is pattern 1. You can move it all around the neck in different keys. So when it comes to actually learning this scale, how do you practice it before you try to improvise with it? There's a couple of different things you can do. I call them scalar exercises, and it sounds like this. This is a scalar third exercise. So what this is if you numbered every note in the scale like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. You're basically playing the scale, instead of numerical order, you're playing 3 at a time. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, on and on and on. I would suggest when you're first learning this pattern to just do the 3 notes at a time so you can be confident about where to start the next one. So going like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to say the numbers, but it's about just knowing where to start and being confident about where you're supposed to start. The other way is a scalar 4 pattern, and it's just like scalar 3, but it's 4 instead of 3. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And it sounds like this. Now, you're not required to do these exercises before you start using the scale, but I think anytime I learn a new scale, these 2 exercises really come in handy, just learning the scale backwards and forwards. And this applies to pentatonic scales, major scales, modes, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so now that we know the pentatonic scale, we're comfortable with the shape and the pattern, the question on everyone's minds is always, how do I apply this? What key am I in? Is mainly what people want to know. So this is a really convenient scale because it's got our minor root and our major root right there on the low E string. And if you don't know really what that means, I'll explain it to you a little bit in this video. So we have the first note on our low E string is our minor root. You do need to know your fretboard a little bit. If you don't know your low E string notes, you can just pull up a diagram and check that out while we're doing this exercise. The 5th fret is an A. So that means this pentatonic scale is A minor pentatonic. So if I have an A, like an A minor chord playing underneath this, or even just an A note droning underneath it. That sounds like a minor scale or a minor key. That's in the key of A minor. It's all about the chord that's underneath your scale. Minor root's the first note. The major root is your second note on the low E string. So we have C on the 8th fret. So that means if someone was playing a C chord underneath me, it kind of changes the feeling of the scale. That's actually what modes are all about, but we're not going to go too far into that. Just remember, if someone says we're in A minor, you put the first note of this scale on the 5th fret. If someone says we're in A major, you put the second note of the scale on the 5th fret. You'll notice that these two notes have 2 frets in between them. So let's do a couple of examples. This key is D minor. So I know D is on the 10th fret of the low E string. And I know that the first note of this scale puts me in D minor. So I just go up there with my index finger. Now I'm in D minor pentatonic. Now if someone says we're in B major, well, I know B is on the 7th fret of the low E string, but it's got to be the second note. So an easy way to do that is put those 2 frets in between. So I've got, here's my second note, and then 1, 2, here's my first note of the scale. So now this is B major pentatonic. So that's how you move this around into different keys. Okay, we're going to improvise a little bit, but first I want to show you where the blue note is in this scale. The blue note is something that instantly makes it very melodic, and it's in 2 places in this scale. 6th fret, so in between the 2 notes on the A string. The 8th fret, so after the 2 notes on the G string. And those are the 2 places you have this blue note. So now we're going to apply the scale. We're going to practice it to a backing track in E minor. E minor is going to be on the 12th fret. That's my E root there. You could do this open if you wanted to. Doing it up here on the 12th fret, I think, is a really good place to do for beginners because it's a little bit closer together. So that's where we're going to be. Okay, so I have this E minor backing track playing, and I've got the beat right about there. First thing I want to do is just play the scale to the beat. I don't have to improvise or make up anything, just if that's as far as you can go, as fast as you can go, then that's where you can stay to improvise. But if you feel like you can go a little faster, now you can do it twice per beat, do 8th notes. You can do 8th note triplets. You can do 16th notes. That's about as fast as I can go, I think. So once you find your fastest, comfortable subdivision, that's where I want you to play this next game. I call this the snake game. It's like that old game Snake that you would play on your cell phone, and you just want to avoid eating your own tail, basically. That's kind of how it feels. But you take that subdivision, and you're going to play the scale up and down and switch directions at random. The only rule is you have to keep going, and if you stop or you hit a wrong note, you have to start over. So let's do it with 8th notes. 1, 2, ready, go. Once you get comfortable with this, you can add in some skips. You can do like different intervals and stuff. But even just doing this little exercise, there's a lot of fun phrases in there that sound pretty good that you can actually make into your own songs, or you can apply to your own jams, stuff like that. That's the pentatonic pattern 1 lesson for today. We learned what it is, how it's derived, one of the patterns in one position and a few different positions. We learned how to move it around in different keys. We learned a couple exercises, all sorts of stuff. If you have any questions or any tips and tricks for this scale that you like to use, leave them below in the comments. Check out our YouTube memberships. We just added those, and that's a great way to support our channel and what we do. Like, comment, subscribe, check out our Patreon, all that stuff, and see you in the next video.